It was a dark and dreary night. I deserved it. The last couple of days had been rough. The bills were piling up, and I was doing my best to drown what was left of my spirit. It shouldn't surprise me when the hired help, Tulips, delivered the letter that triggered that damn day. Tulips has been the only good thing that's happened to me in the last 6 months. She had the eyes of an angel, but the bite of Uncle Jack first thing in the morning. Looking back on it, I should have known the sky was falling and I was under it. It wasn't the first time I'd been sucked into a lust-driven hate crime cesspool of grudge sludge. The stiff had been all over the news for the last 24, and I was going on 28, and I was feeling none the worse for the wear. I knew Uncle Ballingall would beat my backside with a broken bamboo if I didn't find this scumbag and give him what he deserved. If he didn't, the bank would. I was 6 months behind on rent, and my future looked bleaker than the Gem Lake snowpack on Easter weekend. The only thing I had going for me was my smarts. They could take my office and they could take my ride. Hell, they could take Tulips, if she didn't take them first. You didn't have to be a Cyclops to see that the damned Rossis were in demand. I'd seen them first a few weeks back. The 130, 100, 120 dimensions. It reminded me of a girl I once knew. She was built for riding the crud, flexed in all the right places, and held her edge when you put some weight behind her. The corpse belonged to poor Mickey. He was the only kid on the hill riding the new Rossi No B squad, and now he was deader than Sam's on a Tuesday night. If there's one thing I hate, it's Tuesday nights. My suspects were few. It took me and most of my better half to eliminate the usual scum. I knew Spencer would be streaking the park, and little Johnny Wandering Eye would be looking for all the love in all the wrong places. That only left Willie. Willie was hard to find. He'd been up and down the hill like Jack and Jill for longer than anybody cared to remember. But if there's one thing you could count on Willie for, it was riding the Widge Wocket. Sure as snot to a snail, that wily wasky Willie would be walking the Widge Wocket like a whittle engine that could. The snow under my ride was softer than the flex of my old Solomon SX91s, and it would take all my smarts and a bottle of luck to get my hands on my Willie. But I'm smarter than I looked, and I knew if I could cut Willie off near the roller coaster junction, I might just get lucky and smear that ugly little face of his all over a nicely painted sign. I should have guessed that oily wax rat was wearing his helmet. Willie was off down roller coaster. Now I don't know if you know roller coaster or if you've ever cruised the blues, but I can tell you my ride, Sugar Chest, and yours truly were in for one hell of an adventure. The Rossi B squads are a piece of work, and with a plank like that, there's going to be some figure 11 action. Just as sure as a snowboarder side slips the steeps. I knew as we got close to the Telus Park, we'd start encountering some knuckle-dragging, half-wit, plank, stank, numbskulls. If there's one thing I hate... Now don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like snowboarders. I just don't like the track they make. By this time, my blood was getting thin, Tulips was looking ready for the Oscars, and Willie was well on his way to getting what he deserved. As any good private dick would know, if Willie was thinking straight after that quasi-decapitation, he'd head straight for the Raquel snow pit. The sun was hotter than Tulips dolled up on Santa's knee. Now the thing about villains you have to understand is, they're as predictable as a B-grade movie chase scene. I knew Willie couldn't resist a show for the wildlife basking in the sun at Raquel's. His criminal ego had only one choice now, and you can bet your mother's ACL he was going to catch some old-fashioned hot dog air. Watching those Rossis smash into that picnic table like that made my skin crawl. What kind of hell had I been born into? I've been riding Rossis since I was old enough to nurse the bottle. I traded a carton of smokes for my first Rossis before I could walk. I wasn't worried about having whacked Willie, but I was more than a little upset at the damage those B squads took. And I need another drink. Not the kind of drink that drowns your sorrow, but the kind that makes your sorrow crawl out of your skin and into the gutter, and then drowns it in the place where all the gutter sorrows flow to. It's a place I know only too well. Seeing those Rossis scraping along that table timber like that probably meant I wouldn't get reimbursed for my hardships and troubles. But at least I could sleep at night knowing that Willie had whacked his last Mickey. More than I could say for myself. Looks like it's time for me to hit the beat and see if I can make a quick buck off the incessant slime that lurks around every miserable corner of this decrepit city. Because you can bank your last buck that the bank bastards will be banging on my back door before I can bag the bucks for the bills. And it's not even time for lunch.